Here's the famous mic.
Is that the one sec?
It's this one. But I think it's because when we're too close to the speakers, I don't know. I have no clue why it does that. I'll give you number 5, just the good one. Let's start. All right. All right. Hello, everyone. Good morning. It is very nice to see everyone on site, but I also know that there are some online, so hey there. My name is Alan, and I work for Goto 10. To those who doesn't know what Goto 10 is, it is a free co-working space where anyone and everyone can become a member. By doing so, you can participate and organize events such as this one. We also provide equipments for podcasts if you ever want to record and live stream that. We also have 3D printers, and as you can see, anyone can just like come here and work it whenever you want. So yeah, today's event will be Tech Tuesdays, and I'll give it to you.
Thank you, and hi everyone, even from
Yeah.
to try it again. Yes. So we try again. I will stay very still. My name is Anna Broders. I work at Linköping Science Park as a talent and community manager. And I think one of the big things in the science park, of course, is gathering people and sharing knowledge. So I'm very happy to be here today with Tech Tuesday. And Tech Tuesday is a recurring seminar series which is hosted by several companies in the science park. We have Ericsson, Combitech, SICK, Nira Dynamics, and Sectra. And these held one seminar each every term. And today, it's the host is Combitech, and we have Johan Andersson here, who is a technical lead for Industry 4.0 at Combitech, and he will talk more about this and also what's next. So I think we leave the floor to you, Johan.
Okay, thank you. Hi everybody, nice to see you all. My name is Johan Andersson. I work at Combitech as a tech lead for Industry 4.0 and as a consultant. I've been working quite some time at Combitech and taking on different roles such as developer, architect, team leader, and working in different industries, telecommunications, defense industry, energy sector, etc. And the latest years, I've been working quite some time with simulations and also with manufacturing execution systems, building microservices for customizations for such systems, and as a data engineer, with data science and data visualization. And today I'm here to talk about my view on Industry 4.0 and how Combitech work with this. So, but first I think we start with what is Industry 4.0. And as you can see here, there's a lot of technologies, and we usually say that Industry 4.0 is driven by these technologies, and it's the combination of using these emerging technologies in a smart manufacturing environment. And many of these technologies has been around for quite some time. For example, AI isn't quite new today, but is giving more and more popularity. Sensors have become smaller, cheaper, and they have lower energy consumption. We have more computing power and greater data storage, and therefore we can use all these technologies now in an industrial environment in a much smarter way. If we go back in time, we see that Industry 4.0 is called Industry 4.0 because it's said that it is the fourth industrial revolution. It all started back in the late 1700s, and it began with industrialization and the use of steam power. Is the second industrial revolution used electrification, and the third was using microelectronics, robotics, digital machines, and IT and OT. And all those have in common that they are driven by technological revolutions. And they have been made available at a lower cost and high efficiency, and enabling wide adoption by manufacturing companies and resulting in new ways of working. And that is the same thing with Industry 4.0. Now we have these new technologies, autonomous machines, big data analytics, etc., that we use in new ways to build new business in our manufacturing environments. And the reason why we want to do that is that every product manager during the history has been focused on these things. We want to have a higher rate. We want to increase the speed to market. We want higher quality. And we can have higher quality due to improved quality due to new sensors, AI support, and real-time data. We want to have a higher flexibility in our production environment, and that we can gain through advanced planning, real-time monitoring. We want to have lower cost, and that we can gain by utilizing our assets better. And what we want to do is to transform these business challenges into opportunities. As I said, we have the real-time data available on all levels in the company. We need a solid and secure data foundation to support business requirements. We want to reduce energy consumption, the use of natural resources, for example. And one important thing is that we want to attract and keep employees. We want to be an attractive employer by adapting new technology, for example, VR or mobile devices. And going from 3.0 to 4.0 is about connecting everything. We want to connect people to people, machines to machines, systems to systems, everything to everything. And looking at industry today shows that most parts are isolated islands, and they are isolated from each other. And and the communication is driven point to point, layer by layer, up in the hierarchy. And in Industry 4.0, the change is that we want to connect everything with everything else. So instead of having this layered architecture, we want to loosen up the communication patterns and let devices and systems and machines communicate more freely with each other. And this new smart manufacturing will support better productivity, data-driven decisions, increased efficiency, and better quality, and more sustainable manufacturing. So why does this matter? It is because reports, analysis, and reference projects show that manufacturing companies have a lot to gain from leveraging Industry 4.0 concept. That is why we should look into it. And some examples of Industry 4.0 in action could be to look at these technologies. And the term Industry 4.0 was originally coined in Germany around 12 years or so ago. There are other names that means more or less the same thing, like smart factory, 4.0, industry of the future, industrial internet of things, for example. But they all have in common that by using these technologies, we can build new business models. When talking about digitalization in manufacturing, we often look at this model from the German architect that describes the digital maturity of a company. It contains several steps, 6 steps in this case. And it starts with computerization, followed by connecting your things. The next step, visibility. They want to see what is happening right now. And then you start looking at running data analytics and understanding the effects of what is happening. So you see what is happening, now you can understand why it is happening. And on the higher levels, you can use, for example, AI or machine learning to simulate possible future scenarios and predict what is going to happen. And on the higher levels, you have a self-optimizing environment. So, how to get there? I have an example from a project at Saab Aerospace Systems where they are in the middle of implementing a digitalization journey. They started by creating a vision to create a common picture for all employees where we want to go. And the vision will illustrate where to reach with standardization, the connectivity, transparency, and data-driven business. And it is important that everybody in the business gets on the journey, and the picture helps to communicate with the whole company. The model that has been used there, they are creating a factory of future starting with a complete Industry 4.0 program spanning over several years. In the beginning, they have made us a thorough strategy and roadmap, identifying the most important pain points and how to solve them. And when they have identified use cases, they started to run some pilot projects to prove that it could be used in their real environment, focusing on architecture and the foundation of the factory, IoT platform connectivity. They've introduced a private 4G network for communication and connecting machines, building an IoT platform to collect all data which can later be used for analyzing and visualizing your process. And then you continue your journey by identifying new use cases, implementing them, identifying the most important new use cases, and implementing them until you are reaching the factory of the future. And important is to remember that you have to have this strategy and vision in focus all the time, so that you focus on what is most important right now, but you have to also see where are we going to get, what is our factory of the future. When you are implementing a digital solution in your environment, you are going to face some challenges, and often you focus on the technology. You put all your effort into selecting the best technology for finding the best solutions. Smart industry isn't only about technology. People and business also need to transform. And the rethinking of organization and process is needed to maximize the outcome. The company culture needs to embrace the change. We cannot go on as we have always done. We need to get on this new track, and we have to make sure that the organization is going with us. And co-workers likely need education in these new technologies and how to use them. Some people may need upskilling or reskilling. Some people might end up doing other things in the company in the future. The goal isn't to reduce the headcount. The goal is to, with the same amount of people or more people, do much more things, be more efficient, because the economy isn't shrinking. Economy is always growing, and the need for your products will be bigger and bigger. So to meet that, we need to do more with the same amount of people. And as I said, this digital transformation isn't all about technology. Technology is only a part of it. This model here is also from Acatech, it's part of the Industry 4.0 Maturity Index. And it consists of 4 parts: resources, culture, organization, and information systems. The people need to have the right competence and the right tools. And we have to, the machines and systems need to have the right capability. And the culture need to be aligned. We have to trust the data. Managers need to delegate decisions to other people or to systems. Organizations need to support that people now will be working together and do that in new ways. We will have new communication paths within the company. And the technology needs to support all this. So the technology is only a tool to get there. We have seen 5 guiding principles of a successful Industry 4.0 journey. We have to have a strategic roadmap which handles the pain points and the bottlenecks and focuses on how to solve that and how to overcome that. We have to make the IT and OT landscape ready and focus on the architecture of the foundation platform. As a platform, we have to have a clear information model so we know in what format we are going to exchange the data and exchange the information between all nodes in the business. And not least, we have to identify impacts on current jobs and see what new competences do we need to build and how do we need to educate our coworkers. In this journey, we often start with the connectivity and visibility of the flow. And one pitfall where you might get into there is that it is easy that you just start connecting everything and visualizing things that are easy to connect and visualize just because you can. You have to think of what part of our process is the most important to visualize and start with that first. And one important thing is that it's not often that we build completely new factories and can start from scratch. Well, that happens as well sometimes. But most often, digitalization projects are done in brownfield factories. And a lot of things are hard to connect. And we have security aspects in all machines that we have to take care of. There are ways to overcome that, but it can be sometimes quite tricky and require a massive amount of work. To be successful in your digitalization journey, we have seen that a systematic approach is the best way. Many digitalization initiatives fail since the initiatives aren't aligned with the business goals and strategies. There are no strategy for digitalization. You have to have a clear strategy for your digitalization. So you need to know where do you want to go and why. And most often we tend to focus too much on the technology because it's easy to grasp. The technology is easy to understand. The culture and organization and people aren't as easy to understand. And it might be tricky to go from pilot project and proof of concepts into solutions that are integrated with your business. And one way to overcome that is that you start focusing on building your foundation and looking into how are we going to make this run in the long run. And one thing to remember is that we have this model of the staircase. It is hard to take several steps at a time. We have to focus on taking small steps and always improving. And when we do that, when we take those steps on this ladder, we have to have in mind that we evolve with the technology, the people, the organization, and the culture aligned on these stairs. But the most important thing to remember, I think, is to show the pain points and develop use cases that put that into a roadmap that will give short-term return investment, so that you start spending your money wisely in the right now, and also that you look at the future and develop business cases for your digitalization. You need to know what will you gain from this. I also said before, I think, that I'm going to talk a little about the future of Industry 4.0 and what comes ahead. It is always hard to speculate on the future, but I think I will give it a try, and also point out some main focuses for Industry 4 today and the following years, and why I think they will play an important role. I see that advanced analytics will play an important role now and in the future. We will likely continue to focus on leveraging advanced analytics and artificial intelligence in our industrial environment to optimize processes and drive efficiency. For example, using predictive analysis, machine learning, and other techniques. The digital twin has had some focus over the last years, and I think that it still will play an important role, because many companies are still at the lower levels of the staircase and need to focus on building the digital twin. For example, integrating PLM systems with ERP systems and MES systems to have the digital thread throughout the whole manufacturing process. And as well, cybersecurity will also continue to play an important role. As smart industry becomes more and more connected and data-driven, there is a growing need for robust cybersecurity to protect against cyber threats. And two things that have been getting a little bit more focus today is sustainability. And I think sustainability is becoming an increasingly important consideration in smart industry. There will be a growing focus on reducing environmental impact and implementing sustainable practices to reduce waste, conserve resources, and mitigate climate change. And when we start to focus less on the technology, I think we will start to focus more on collaboration, both collaboration within our company, but also collaboration outside the company. Since smart industry is a complex and interconnected ecosystem, we will require collaboration between stakeholders that are found inside our company and, for example, with our customers or other partners. So now in the future, many companies have taken these first steps and are now looking at how to get to the higher levels. A lot of companies are still on step 2 and trying to reach step 3, but for those that are on the higher levels, I think some major technologies will have a key impact on that. I've identified a few. I don't think the technologies will be limited to this, but I think that these will play an important role. One is a unified namespace for providing a unified, streamlined approach to data access, which will allow applications and services to access data from multiple sources using a common API. And MQTT for using a lightweight, efficient communication. And blockchain for robust supply chains, sustainability, and circular economy. And one cannot talk about technology these days without mentioning ChatGPT, right? And I think that ChatGPT might give us insights and decisions support that can be used in our factory environment as well. And I think that we're going to revisit this model a little bit, because when we started talking about Industry 4.0, we said that going from 3.0 to 4.0 is about connecting everything. And in Industry 3.0, a common model to use was the ISI 95 information model, where communication were point-to-point, layer to layer. And as I said, in 4.0, nodes communicate more freely and throughout the whole system. And then we started building another type of architecture, loosening up the layered approach. And nodes still communicate in an intertwined way, but as we can see, it's still point-to-point. We have loosened up the layered architecture, but we still communicate point-to-point. So one way to overcome that obstacles is to use the unified namespace. Because communicating point to point can work well in smaller environments, but when there are a greater number of nodes that want to communicate with each other, we start facing scalability problems. Because it usually works well when we have a picture like this. We build integration directly between our ERP system and MES system. Between our ERP and MLS, we integrate our machines directly to our MES system. We let our analytics platform read data directly from the databases for each system, read data directly from the sensors. But what happens when we want to connect more and more things? We will have a mess of pathways, and we need to build integration points between all these nodes in the system. And that doesn't scale very well. So one way to overcome that is by using unified namespace. Within unified namespace, the business data is centralized in a unified and single logical namespace. It doesn't mean that the data is physically stored locally. It just means that we have a unified way to access our data. So every node in our system knows exactly where to go to find the relevant data, and every node in the system publishes data on that unified namespace. In that way, we don't have to build integration points between all systems. We build one integration point for each system, each node. This will not solve all problems. It's not a magical bullet, because as I said before, we often implement digitalization in a brownfield environment, and many of those systems aren't designed to communicate like this. So we still need to build IoT gateways. We need to have an IoT platform to collect data and integrate data into the data broker. But if we try to look at it at this way instead, I think that we more likely have the ability to reach the higher levels, because then we need all data at the same time in real time throughout the whole company. And to achieve this, we need to have some kind of lightweight communication protocol. And I put my money on that we are going to use the MQTT, because it's, at the moment, it's best suited for this kind of communication. If we look a little bit more into the future, I think that we are going to see blockchain implementations in the smart industry as well. We can use it to create secure and transparent supply chains. When we have, for example, a container that is going to travel from one side of the globe to the other side of the world. We have sensors measuring the humidity inside the container, sensors that are checking so that the container isn't open, that the chain isn't broken all the way from the starting point to the end point. And we have different companies that are going to sign these information protocols and pass that along throughout the whole supply chain. Another way could be to use smart contracts that are self-executing small pieces of code that can be stored on a blockchain, and they can be used to automate business processes, for example. And one thing that I think will come more and more in the future is the decentralized energy grid. We need to use our energy smarter, and the blockchain can be used to create a decentralized energy grid, allowing businesses to trade energy with each other in real time. And that will help reduce the energy costs, increase efficiency, and also promote the use of renewable energy sources. And I also said I was going to mention ChatGPT. I think ChatGPT or other language models can be a valuable tool in Industry 4.0, providing insights and support across a range of industrial applications. For example, in predictive maintenance, we can have them predict when industrial equipment will require maintenance. Or, for example, if we take all our business data, all our emails that have been sent, all our data from our systems, put that into a ChatGPT. We can ask ChatGPT to give me some suggestions. How should I improve my processes? How should I make them more efficient? Or, for example, in training and support, training and education. We still will need classroom training and talk to each other, but maybe instead of these e-learning videos that are static, we maybe can use ChatGPT to ask it questions that I need to have support with right now, and start having a conversation, going deeper and deeper into a subject of interest. But as I said, maybe if we use it for decision support, and it tells us to let's skip the 15-minute break each morning, because then we will have much more efficient production. I think that the human will still play an important role, and if we look a little bit more ahead in the future, and now we are at Industry 4.0, focusing on technologies for building our digital business, our smart business with smart ecosystems, artificial intelligence, and autonomous business. What we see now is that we are already talking about the next step, what will be coming in Industry 5.0. And Industry 5.0 envisions a future where manufacturing processes are designed to work in harmony with human operators, leveraging the unique skills that we as humans have, and our creativity, and how we can collaborate with robots. We will have, for example, robots working alongside the humans, and the robots can perform the dangerous tasks for the humans, and the humans can take over when we require more creativity and work together with the robot. And Industry 5.0 also emphasizes the importance of sustainability and social responsibility in manufacturing. And this could involve the use of renewable energy sources, the reduction of waste and pollution, and the implementation of ethical labor processes. But overall, when we talk about Industry 4.5.0 today, we're talking about that it represents a shift towards a more human-centered manufacturing, that we need to prioritize collaboration, creativity, and sustainability. And while it's still a concept that's not yet widely adopted, I think that Industry 5.0 has the potential to shape the future of manufacturing to create a more positive impact on society and the environment. And that was all I was thinking of talking about. Thank you everybody for listening.
Thank you very much, Johan. We have some time left for questions. Are there any questions in the audience here in the room? Or maybe on the chat? Nothing on the Any questions in the room? We take with the microphone because then the people...
Hi. I was just thinking about lately we heard a lot of news about problems in the industry related to, what do you call it in English, but in Swedish, leverantörskedjor.
Yeah.
Are there any tools in Industry 4.0 to handle that?
Yeah, I think that we need to focus more on the supply chain, to look at the complete supply chain. And if we use tools like AI to predict how our business and how our sales are going to be evolve in the future, we can respond more quickly to such events, I think.
I had actually one question regarding the reskill and upskill that you mentioned that's needed. Do you think at the moment that are there like suppliers who can help out with this reskill or upskill?
There is, indeed. There is an initiative called Production 2030, a Swedish initiative supported by Vinnova, and they have developed a concept called Ingenieur 4.0, Engineer 4.0, and they have a development concept, education concept designed specifically for engineers or other professions working in the industry at the moment. And they have developed, I think it's like 15 modules that they call it, on different subjects on Industry 4.0. Each module will require about 20 hours to complete, and they are completely digital and are developed by different universities throughout Sweden. So the quality of the courses are very high. They are on university level, and they are implemented with us engineers and professions working in the industry today, so that we can do that at the same time when we are doing our normal works.
Thank you.
Maybe a follow-up question on that.
Yeah.
So you have talked about a lot about how people, about how the future and the Industry 4.0 is about people and collaboration and having the right competence. But what are actually the required competencies of this and the future coming ahead?
Yeah, I think that most of the core competencies that we already use, like integrating systems, building efficient communication platforms, will play an important role, because much of the work technically is about connecting things, integrating things. So 5G will play an important role, for example, but also when we start connecting things, we will need to collect all the data. So there will be a increased need for data engineers, data scientists, AI and machine learning experts, visualization experts, for example.
Great. Thank you so much. Johan will be around for a few more minutes, so if anybody has more questions, please feel free to come forward. Next Tech Tuesday will be the 23rd of May, and then it's Sectra who will be the host, talking about genomics, IT, and precision medicines. So totally different topic, but I think it would be really interesting as well. More information about this event, but also other events in Linköping Science Park are found at our webpage. So I hope to see you soon here again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.